Wij hebben een geheime pillenstash gevonden. Wat betekent dat we nu de zoon binnen kunnen gaan ondervragen.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
Kijk, Vigor Pills.
You'll never believe what I found in your family's tomb.
Oh? Was it a ghost?
No, it was these Vigor pills. You wouldn't happen to know how they got there, would you?
I see you really are good at your job, aren't you, Mr. Fordham?
Look, Andrew, I'm in no mood for games.
Eet pillen.
Ja, dus we kunnen zeggen we gaan hem erbij naaien. Of hij gaat ons helpen. Dat lijkt me beter.
Ja, dat denk ik wel, ja.
Ja. Just be quiet and take one of these pills. Ja, nee.
I'm willing to overlook your unlawful activities in exchange for your cooperation.
Fine, but you have to understand, I'm not exactly feeling myself
Yeah,
right now.
I understand perfectly, which is why I need you to take one of these pills.
I suppose one would help. Thank you.
Een rare man.
Ja.
My goodness, I always forget how fast those pills work. My heart is racing. You said you had questions, didn't you? Well, go on, ask them already. We mustn't waste any more time.
Well, that seems to have done the trick. I just hope we
Dan
haven't
kunnen we
killed
nu
him to a heart
serieuze
attack.
vragen stellen.
Precies.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupré?
I can't believe anyone would be so cruel as to do what that wretched bastard Martin did to her. Mother is kind and generous, and everyone loves her. She's even good enough to hire actual people to do the housework. Not many wealthy families do that, you know. They just use automated machines or hire servants to operate the manual ones.
Ja.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
I study pharmacology at the university. I'll be graduating next year if all goes well. I just hope Mother has recovered enough
hij
by
is een
then to
pillenmaker.
understand what's going on.
Ah.
She and Jean were so proud of me when I started university. I'd be so disappointed if she couldn't see me finish.
Jean, wie
I
Jean?
take it John is your stepfather.
He is. Mother married him 5 years after my father died of consumption.
My condolences. Do you have a good relationship with
Died
him?
of
Not
consumption.
terribly. Truth is, I hardly ever see him. In fact, before the funeral, I hadn't seen him at all this month.
Where is he now?
I don't know for certain, but it seems likely he's at his hunting cabin.
His hunting cabin.
Ah, nieuwe locatie.
Yes, he often goes there. It's his way of leaving polite society behind and spending time with his thoughts. Considering what Mother just went through, well, I would guess that's where he's gone. Although, to be honest, I don't know why he's not here with Mother in her time of need.
Why do people run away from their problems instead of facing them? Why, Miles?
Do you know where this cabin is?
Afraid not.
Ah.
I don't share his passions, so I never cared much to accompany him on his outings.
Maar wel een nieuwe aanwijzing.
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliet?
Juliet, smart as a whip and just as forgiving. She's a fighter, that one. Despite being the only woman in her class, she's managed to rank at the top.
Impressive.
I only wish Mother was more accepting of Juliet going to university. But you don't want to hear about boring family matters, I'm sure.
Oh, but family matters are my favorite. It's always so reassuring to know how much worse off everyone else is.
What exactly were the circumstances leading up to your mother's supposed death?
A few days ago, I arrived home from school and found her collapsed on the floor. She wasn't breathing, so I immediately contacted Dr. Fellows. He examined her and pronounced her dead. We were all completely shocked. I was devastated. She'd been in fine health. In fact, she'd just been out riding that morning. You can imagine our surprise at the funeral when she sprang back to life.
Dus inderdaad wel vreemd, hè?
What's your relationship with the servants like?
Relationship? I don't have one with them. They're servants. Mother always made it clear that they weren't part of the family, just help. We've only got 2 on staff right now, though, the kitchen girl and the gardener.
How is it you know Albert Martin?
He works at the greenhouse where my sister Juliet does her research. The 2 of them were involved romantically, and Mother didn't like that at all. I heard their fights. They were ghastly.
What exactly made you suspect he was the one responsible for what happened to your mother?
Well, I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? His mother's a notorious voodoo witch. Those people do all sorts of awful things to our kind. It's all out of spite, you know. He knew Mother disapproved of his relationship with Juliet, so he plotted to get rid of her.
So, you're running some kind of pill business on the side.
I'm providing a service, Mr. Fordham. Not everyone in this life is as lucky as I am. People pay top crown for luxuries like airship tickets and social club memberships. Medicine should be affordable to all. Dr. Tennyson has a patent on the energy pill formula and thus a monopoly on the market. That means he can charge whatever he wants. Students use these kinds of pills all the time, you know. Academic rigors can be overwhelming, and concentrating can be difficult without help sometimes. I've got the skills and the equipment. If I can replicate the formula, help my fellow students, and sell them at a much more reasonable price, why shouldn't I?
There's the fact that what you're doing is illegal.
Ugh, you're starting to sound just like Mother. And just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's immoral. I can think of plenty of examples where the opposite is true.
You're probably the most altruistic person I've met all month.
The sad part is it's true.
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
Yes, Ray is nice when he's quiet. But get him started and it's tough to shut him up.
Who trained him?
I think he already knew some phrases when Mother bought him. She's managed to teach him a few new ones, though.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Ja, dan hebben we hem toch ondervraagd.
Ja.
En die papegaai die leert niks nieuws.
Komt over.
Question residents of Dupree Manor. Investigate the tomb. Locate the hunting cabin. Ja, de tomb, daar zijn we toch al geweest. Maar er is misschien nog meer te zien. We kunnen nu wel doorvragen op wat we nu van Andrew gehoord hebben. Misschien hier buiten. Ja.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
Tell me what you know about Jean Dupree.
I'd rather not speak of him. Madame Dupree does not need to be agitated any further.
I take it you don't look very favorably upon him, then.
I'll just say this. If my wife had been attacked and left for dead, you can be sure I wouldn't leave her side.
What a gentleman. He doesn't even leave women who aren't his wife.
I see what you mean. Do you know where I might find him?
I only wish I did.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
Ja, misschien dat die keukenvrouw nog iets weet dan. En anders zullen we bij Juliette wat moeten vragen. Het is natuurlijk ook haar vader.
Amelie?
Yes? What is it? We mustn't be seen talking.
Anything you can tell me about Jean?
I hardly ever see him. Only at dinner. He's scared of Madam, and so he finds any reason to get out of the house and stay away as long as he can.
Scared of her?
Oh, it's true. You should see him when they're in private, like a shamed puppy that dirtied the carpet.
Interesting.
Do you have any idea why Jean is so afraid of Madame Dupree?
If he's seen the same things we have, then yes.
What kind of things?
No, I spoke out of turn. Forget I said anything.
Amelie, listen to me. A potentially innocent man's life is on the line. If I don't find out who attacked Madame Dupree, he's as good as dead. So if there are any facts or details you know that I don't, you need to tell me.
I can't.
You can. I'm not with the police. If Madame Dupree did something wrong, I'm not going to look the other way. Trust me, I'm on your side.
Madam beats the servants.
Ah.
I think she even does it for fun. I hear the screams sometimes. I don't know how anyone else in the family doesn't. Maybe they do and just ignore it. I don't know. But if Mr. Dupree knows what she do, it explains why he's so scared of her.
Did Madame Dupree ever abuse you?
No, I was lucky, but some of the others weren't.
Like who? I need details, Amelie.
The old gardener, Guy Dumas, and one of the maids, Celine. I saw Madam going after them the
Celine,
most.
die hebben wij
Don't
gezien
know
in
what
de
they did to deserve
begraafplaats.
it, but I would see her walk by in a rage, whip in one hand and a book in the other.
A book? What book?
Oh, I don't know. I can't read, so I don't know what it said on the cover. But it's the same color as the stew spice I always use. Don't know what she used it for, but she always had it with her, just before a beating.
Maybe she'd recite them some of her terrible poetry. I'm sure that was torture enough.
Een nieuwe objective erbij. En een nieuwe aanwijzing.
Tell me more about Guy and Celine.
They were deeply in love with each other. I used to hear them talk about how they wanted to run away together.
What happened to them?
I don't know. One day they were here, and then one day they weren't.
Do you think Madame Dupre may have
Ja,
done
Celine
something
hebben
to
we
them?
gevonden.
I couldn't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if she had. Please, let's not talk about this anymore.
Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Now please, let me get back to work.
Dan kunnen we nu de mensen hier in huis even naar Guy en Celine vragen. Denk ik.
I have some questions for you.
All right.
Ja.
Did you know Guy Dumas?
The old gardener? Sure, I knew him. We didn't talk very much. He was just a servant after all, but he seemed like a nice man. He stopped coming around about 2 months ago. Too bad, really. He did a good job of keeping the gardens looking nice. The new one is all right, but he just doesn't have that special touch Guy did.
Were you familiar with a servant named Celine?
Yes, I believe she was one of the maids. I didn't talk to her very much. Oh, she quit not so long ago. At least I assume she did. I haven't seen her in about 3 months.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Nou, die dokter nog even navragen. Want we komen wel in de buurt, hè? Oh.
This quack has... Her eyes are glazed open. If we didn't know she'd been buried...
Ja. Dus dan is onze volgende stap terug naar de tomb. Daar gaan we weer iets leren over Celine, want die naam hebben we gelezen. En we kunnen misschien dan nog Juliette vragen naar Jean's hunting cabin.
Ja,
Ik stel voor dat we dat weer gaan doen in de volgende video.
lijkt me goed.
Dus graag tot dan.
Joe, joe.
Joejoe.